Hello, my name is Sydney Terrison with Astute Semantics. Today we're going to be going over how to get started with EWD.js on a Windows machine and Intersystems Cache, as well as how to set up our open source application FMView to get started. Step 1 is to install Node. Step 2 is to go ahead and create a new folder, in this case EWD-demo, navigate to it in the command prompt, and then run npm install EWD.js. Hit enter here, and then we're doing a test environment, so yes. Now simply navigate your browser to globalsdb.org/downloads and help yourself to the Node.js interface version of globalsdb. Now you just go ahead and run through the install. Okay, now that we've installed globalsdb, let's go ahead and open up the folder which we installed it to, which is globals, and then open up the bin folder therein. And here's the file of interest, cache0100.node. Let's go ahead and copy that, and then get to the folder where we installed EWD, and then open up the node modules folder therein, paste it, and then use our favorite shortcut F2 to rename this to just simply cache.node. Now we're ready to manipulate the start file. Let's go back to the base folder for the EWD installation and check out the template that Rob provided here, ewd-start-cache-win. And here it is, all blown up for you and easy to read. Going over the portions quickly. Full size is basically the number of processes that EWD can open. HTTP port is just the port number when you're accessing it. And then trace level is the level of detail that's going to show up in your console here. Here's a quick example of one that I'm running. And the path is for your Intersystems Cache install. And then this username, password, and namespace you're probably going to want to change for yourself so that they apply to your systems. And then this password here is for the EWD monitor application, which Rob provides with EWD.js and allows you to essentially just configure and manipulate your system. A bit of advice: after you make your modifications to this file, you're going to want to rename it to something unique, so that way every time you update EWD.js, that file won't be overwritten with what is intended to be a template. Now simply navigate to astutesemantics.com/open-source and go ahead and download FMView. Open up the folder, and then you're going to want everything in here to go into whatever folder you installed EWD.js into, /www/ewd, and then make a new folder here for our application FMView. Now, this is important, take this FMView file, go back to your root directory for the EWD installation, and then in node modules, paste this FMView file. Alright, and we should be ready for action here. Pop open a command prompt, navigate to your EWD.js installation folder, and go ahead and type node space and then the name of your start file. In our instance here, it's EWD start-cache-win. And this is a good sign. This means that it worked properly. And now what we can do is navigate on our local host to this application we just installed from Astute Semantics. So let's go ahead and then do fmview/index.html. And here we are. Let's go over what all was included in your fmview zip file. The first thing to notice is this D3 folder, which is the data visualization plugin utilized by Vivian as well. The next file is the app.js file, which allows you to define some functions. This one here on startup runs on the onset of the application, and you can see that the first thing it does is run the function that's defined above it here, enable select to, and then goes ahead and tells the client what to do when there is a click on the DOM element with an ID of file BTN. One of the things you'll see here is it actually sends a socket message of type file selected with these parameters. Now, beyond the startup instructions, the client, when you're interacting with it, is going to also receive different WebSocket messages from your server based on your input, and those are defined down here in this on message section. The two of interest for us today are the file selected and the file matches, and here you'll see that when the client receives a message of type file selected, then its contents are then utilized to generate a chart with the D3 plugin. And you could actually stuff this on message area with an abundance of different responses to particular WebSocket messages, and that would be how you to create a more complex EWD application. Moving down the list here to fmview. fmview is the server-side code, and you'll recall that we actually copied and pasted this into the node modules folder that lived within our root EWD installation folder here. And that's because it's essentially instructing the cache.node file on what to do with your Intersystems implementation. And you'll see here that once a file is selected, then there is a run to get the file pointers based on the file ID. And this function here is actually defined higher up in the fmview.js file, and we can take a brief look at it. And see even at first glance that it's traversing the DIC global as well as the DD global and arranging the data in a format that is conducive to the D3 visualization plugin. In index.html, we have what is shown when you are working with the application. Essentially, this main container here is what gets populated with the data visualization tree from D3. This tree chart.css tells the tree chart how to present itself and how to look pretty. And treechart.js is the configuration file for the data visualization tree. You can see here things such as the chart width and chart height, and there's also aspects of the chart that you can change color for, all sorts of stuff. Go ahead over to D3 and just Google it, and you'll quickly be introduced to a bevy of information and knowledge in terms of configuring this.